Why does God give his heart as warrior?
Yeah, I don't know. I like wine, but I never drink it because you have to pay money for it. I don't really care about like most forms of buttercream, royal ice.
When was the last time you guys actually had pineapple upside down cake?
Can I request a second take on that? I missed. Sorry, I was getting prepared.
Rewind. Redo.
Director.
I was gonna let you. I was giving it a pause because didn't know if you were gonna intro with the happy cold brew, happy.
Oh no, I was waiting for your question.
Oh no, we should intro with that though.
I was gonna cold it. All right, let's go.
Oh, wait, are we gonna
just do it?
Happy.
Just
no,
happy.
You know,
Yeah,
when's the last time we didn't do a cold open?
When is the last time we didn't do a cold open?
Yeah,
like
happy,
a cold brew.
Happy cold brew day.
Happy cold brew day.
Happy cold brew day. Did you know it's cold brew day?
I did not actually.
It's also another day.
It is. It's pineapple upside down cake day. I learned.
You know what, Noah? I have a question for you that I've been thinking about asking for a minute now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Literally a minute.
You know, when was the last time you had a pineapple upside down cake?
I'm so glad that you asked me that.
Yeah.
Since you just asked me, I hadn't really thought
I've been
about
thinking
an
about
answer
asking
yet.
that
But
for a while.
It understandable. Pineapple upside down cake is one of those like things that, unfortunately, though, I do have to say I've never had.
Dan?
Wait, seriously? You've never had pineapple upside down cake?
That sounds like a guy who's had pineapple upside down
Yeah,
cake.
dude. Pineapple upside down cake fucks so hard.
You know what? I agree. It's especially with the little maraschino cherry in there.
Yeah.
This is like my obligatory. I'm actually allergic to pineapples moment.
Oh, that's right. I keep forgetting.
But that wasn't that. It's not like that's not an eternal thing. That was like a teenager type beat.
And this is my obligatory, everyone does react to pineapples moments so that you can punch me in the face.
True. Yeah. So yeah, I wasn't like badly allergic to pineapples until I was probably like 10. So I remember having pineapple upside down cake and being like, this was really good with a little cherry in it.
Yeah, it's got the little cherry. It's super sweet. It's usually
super sweet.
It's very
super
moist.
like syrupy.
Yeah.
Super moist. Like it's just it's a good cake.
I mean, it's kind of like a flan in cake form, right?
Yeah, I mean a little bit actually.
Not quite. More butter, less milk.
Yeah, I mean that's true.
No shit. That's where the cake form
I
comes
know,
in.
but there's like whatever amount of butter you think is in like a pineapple upside down cake, it's probably there's going to be a little more butter in there.
I'm not going to lie to you. In my mind, there was probably like a half cup of butter tops in there. So I'm kind of getting overwhelmed with the butter possibilities.
There's a lot of different sizes, I guess, of pineapple upside down cake. So I think of them as more of like a personal thing.
Okay. Oh, like a
mini bun almost, like a mini bun size.
Yeah.
That's what I think of when I think
something just big enough for the pineapple ring.
Yeah, exactly. Like I think of a one ring pineapple upside down cake.
Meanwhile, Dan, I bet you're thinking of an extravagant,
no, I'm thinking of the one
advanced upside down cake.
There's the mini ones, and then
shit.
there's the full size ones. But I think the mini are much more popular.
Yeah, I agree. That's what I like.
Oh,
I mean,
that sounds really good.
Yeah, man. Now
I did make a pie.
Ooh.
Because I'm hanging out with Noah today.
Hey.
We're in the same room. I made a pie, and it's a honey like custard pie.
Hell yeah. I'm excited to try it. I have not yet. But Jackson says it's pretty good.
Yeah, I have for it's a little too sweet for me, and it came out a little too wet. But it's a pretty good pie.
I'm gonna fix that by just like sprinkling some flour on top to soak it up, maybe a little cornstarch just to help set it a little bit.
Yeah, I think I used too much honey, and not enough sugar, but so it turned out a little more liquidy. Still good though. I've been on a pie baking frenzy.
Yeah, we were talking about that a little bit last week. I know you made pies with Jeff, and then I heard rumors that you made pies with a former coworker.
It's true.
Honestly, all these pies, I'm really glad I get to try one today because I was starting to feel left out. You know what I mean? Dan, you also feel left out?
I want pie now. I'm not
you
gonna
guys,
lie to you.
you guys, we can have an off the air makes a pie.
Off the air,
I mean, we could do that
makes the pie. Off the pie.
Yeah, I mean, it's super feasible for our next in-person episode. We should try and take the time, to carve out a couple hours.
Yeah,
and
exactly. Just make a quick, easy 4-camera setup. Everyone,
3 days of
remote
production.
mic'd up.
I mean,
We'll go to Dan's place for it because I think Dan actually has all the equipment.
We need to have someone do wardrobe.
Like 2/3 of that equipment. Yeah. I don't have the lavs. Everything else.
I bet Michelle could do wardrobe pretty well.
Michelle would do great wardrobe.
I mean, of course, the wardrobe is just all of us wearing white chef coats, and then
course.
like
We need to build a
I
control
think
room.
cargo shorts would be ideal to go with the white chef coat, just to
Yeah.
really like sell that we're so good at this and not good at it at all.
We gotta find a studio. This is just gonna be.
There's no way we're doing a studio. We don't have studio money.
It's constantly spiraling. Well, I mean, we need a studio
We need
kitchen,
money.
Dan. You got to keep up.
We gotta fund this thing.
It's gonna take like 7 people to just run our camera
OTA
rig.
TV. This is
And
a
then we're
special.
gonna need a producer. Michelle can be the producer as well. Honestly,
very good at
being
that.
a producer, that's a full-time job. We'll take her out of costuming for that one.
I think she'll appreciate that.
But yeah,
actually.
what if we made a pie? What would you guys want to do?
Cherry.
Oh, you like a cherry pie?
I love me a good cherry pie.
I've never had a homemade cherry pie.
Really?
Oh my God.
Yeah, I've only ever had like with the store bought filling.
I'm not gonna lie, man. A homemade cherry pie is game-changing in the pie sphere.
Yeah, I just am like don't come from a cherry pie family. My mom makes a mean blueberry pie, elderberry pie, strawberry rhubarb.
I
apple,
love
all sorts of
strawberry
pie, but cherry
rhubarb.
was just not one that made the cut. I don't know why, but this summer I'm gonna try and make some cherry pie.
I'm a big fan of mixed berry, but now all I can think of is like a fresh homemade cherry pie. Those
yeah,
are it's so
I never
good.
had it.
The great part is since you cook the cherries down, and I'm sure this is something that Dan's family probably did too, you can get a shit ton of cherries and then freeze them for later.
Mm.
Because it doesn't matter if they get a little mushy from getting frozen. You're going to cook the hell out of them anyway. So like, they're set.
It's a good idea. Yeah, I never see that's. I think being a West County kid,
Mhm.
we didn't do as much with the cherries because the cherry festival and all the cherry like orchards and growers, they're kind of out in the east part of the county. West County's got a lot of
grape
apples.
town. Let's go.
Yeah,
Grape,
we
grape,
got a lot
grape.
of apples. We got a lot of blueberries out in the West County. We don't have a lot of. We never had a lot of cherries.
Actually, you know, another pie I never had is a grape pie. I didn't know grape
I'm sorry,
pies
what?
existed. No, people make
Yeah.
grape
No,
pies.
you're not
and
wrong.
I had never heard of them before until someone casually mentioned it. Like, what do you mean you don't know about a grape
I
pie?
think a grape pie you have to like. Well, maybe not always, but don't you usually have to cook it down on like the stovetop to get it really cooked down because there's so much water in them?
Probably,
And then
honestly.
you like pour it into a shell.
I really
And
don't
this is
like the
probably the
mental image
most,
of
like-
pouring into a shell,
Now
but
we gotta
that is
start
how
talking about
fruit
baseball.
pies.
Yeah, that's
So true. Baseball. Take me out to the
I
ball
went to a
game,
baseball game the
baby.
other day, actually.
Yeah, you got
Let's talk
food
about
poisoning.
this is the most American experience of all time.
Oh wait, I'm
of,
sorry. Apple pie.
Apple pie.
apple
Talking about
pie?
pies and now baseball.
Man, I want apple
but-
cake now.
That
apple
sounds
cake,
good.
Yeah.
like
dude.
a coffee cake with a crumb top with
No,
apple.
Not at all. Let me see if I
Oh.
can find a recipe. I've talked about it, I think, once before. I do want to get back to. I really want to get back to baseball.
Not really, yeah, take
There's
your
it's a specific cake that my family makes. It is a German apple cake.
German
You know,
apple cake?
yeah. Does it
Eh.
use shredded apples?
It uses shredded apples. It's got like
Yeah.
it's got like a almost like a glazed top. To
I
it.
know what you're talking about. That's a. I've had a good German
Oh
apple
my
cake
god,
before.
German apple cake fucks.
Mm.
It's so
it's
good.
very good.
Depending
Especially
on
if you get a little streusel action on top.
My
a good
family,
cake.
so it can be powder. It can be a powdered sugar topping. My family did it like almost like a hard shell topping, like almost
Okay.
closer to being like a pie shell. So it's
I always remember with a brown sugar topping.
Totally, there are like a bunch of different ways. Mine was an old family recipe from the old country.
Ooh, from the old
but
country.
The only one that as far as I know, the only one that my family has actually.
Yeah, that's man. I
Oh
want an
my
apple
God.
cake too now.
Right?
Maybe I'll start baking one of those sometime soon. I forgot about that as a dessert because it wasn't a frequent. But yeah, my mom used to make a pretty mean apple cake. I think it was actually my aunt that made the apple cake.
That sounds so good though. I want it.
Anyway, baseball.
Baseball,
So
sorry.
what just real like down home American boys talking about the West County and fruit picking and then baseball. Yeah, we're getting redneck, I suppose. Yeah, I don't know, to a baseball game, and it was like a perfect day for it in the middle of April. It was like 75 and sunny with just like a light breeze off the lake, and it was fun.
Man.
I may or may not have eaten a cursed hot dog.
Sorry, why
And
was it a
it
cursed hot
fell
dog?
violently ill for about 48 hours.
Ooh,
Yeah, Dan, you
no.
can tune into last week's for that one or
No,
today's
I think
technically.
Oh no, yeah.
No, we
that's right.
talked about it.
Yeah, I ate a hot dog
I'm so
and
sorry.
got sick, but the baseball game was fun.
I mean, I'm glad the baseball game is fun.
Yeah. Again, like I did talk about it last week, but Dan wasn't there.
Exactly.
I gotta fill Dan, in on the baseball. game.
allegedly, and we're not pointing any fingers, but it was the topping that did it.
I think it was the pulled pork.
Ooh, you know what? Honestly,
Also,
I
pulled pork on
actually-
a dog. Mmm.
But their hot dogs are so good at the Seawolves games. It just to I actually when I was telling Mari about the hot dog, I was like, yeah, I got a hot dog. And then she was like, what kind? And because she's never had their special hot dogs before from the Seawolves games or been, I really didn't want to ruin them and be like, it was this one that's like the best one. So I was like, just a hot dog. And I tried to defend the pulled pork.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I also would get the ballpark pulled pork.
I was like,
though.
I want
like immediately. That sounds delicious.
It is so good, and normally it's not a problem.
Yeah.
Like they got this one called the Rocket Dog, and it's pulled pork and mac and cheese on top of a Smith's hot dog in like a nice big bun. So good.
That sounds so
and
good.
I've had it 1,000 times, and it's never given me problems. But I got sick off this one, and I was like, I don't want to call this item of food out to people.
Mm-hmm.
I really I tried to hide it from people. Like I didn't tell people that it was this initially because I was like, I don't want to sell out the hot dogs because they're so good.
It's not the hot dog's fault you got sick. It's your weak stomach.
It's got to be me.
It's probably you.
You ever have that happen where like you get food poisoning but you don't want to admit it? You're like,
yeah.
I'm like, I got to defend this. I can't ruin this food for me.
I got sick off of takeoff Chinese at school, like really sick. And to this day, I maintain it wasn't the food. It was the fact that I left it in that fridge at school overnight.
Yeah, you gotta be like,
and
I cannot
fridge,
blame this.
It was always too full, so you know that thing wasn't running cold enough, and that's the problem.
That's gotta be it. No, like I do that not all the time, but because I don't get food poisoning all the time. But sometimes I'll be like, I don't want to blame anybody for this because I didn't have
any fingers.
I'm like, that was really good though. I don't want to talk shit.
Exactly. You want to be able to enjoy it again.
Get it again.
Yeah.
And I don't want people to be like, don't go get that. Like I still want to be like, no, you should get it actually. Just unlucky for me.
Yeah. I think that is honestly the testament to like good food is I got food poisoning from this, but you know what? Still eat it again.
That was funny. Like I literally didn't tell my parents or Mari that it was that in particular because I was like, I don't want to ruin it. And eventually, obviously, I didn't just like lie to them. I was like, well,
it was my favorite one.
Please don't
write
it
judge
off.
The hot dog.
But the hot dog it's you gotta get it. But yeah, it did me dirty. It's it's a real sad moment.
Real bad vibes.
It was just sad. I was like, man. But I will say when I have 2 more tickets, so when I go back, I will 100% get it again. Mostly because I got the one that was the Cuban style, not the Rocket Dog, which is the mac and cheese one. So it technically had like mustard and pickles on it, so I could blame that instead. And I just can't call out the hot dog.
Not to divert heavily, but
Cuban
has got to be one of my favorite sandwiches.
Yeah.
I know we've talked about this. Literally, I think we had this exact conversation before. But I have, and actually, I think it was actually when I had it in the fridge. Michelle and I just literally like this week made a batch of corned beef for Reuben's. And I'm low
Reuben's also a great sandwich.
Exactly, like I said, we've
the
had
Reuben and the Cuban. Not really that similar as sandwiches.
Yeah, not
similar name.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
And both amazing in their own very different way.
I should have been more clear. Yes, correct.
No, yeah, you're not. But what are the odds? They sound the same. They remind you of each other in like name, but like in terms of flavor, they're not at all similar. But they're both awesome.
Correct.
100%.
I love Cubans and Reubens. I haven't had either in a while.
It's honestly the Cuban, the big slab of pickle with just everything else, just really seals the deal for me.
Yeah, I like that you get the ham and the pulled pork in there.
Right. There's no shortage of pork in this.
Yeah, I like pulled pork that isn't barbecue pulled pork.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like too often you get it and it's just like slathered in like a very barbecue sauce.
It's just drowning in Sweet Baby Ray's, which is like, hey, this is fine.
Hey,
but
there's
like,
a time and place, And it's
but
at the
I'd also
baseball game.
love like exactly in a baseball game with some mac and cheese.
Yeah,
hypothetically.
Exactly. That's a great pulled pork, but sometimes you're like, I could get a little more classy than this.
Exactly. Sometimes you want it like a vinegar sauce. Sometimes you want something different. I think the last time I did one, the sauce was primarily olive oil and lime juice with so much oregano, and frankly, it was delicious.
I've long been a fan of a vinegar-based barbecue sauce.
Oh yeah,
like a Memphis style, right? Memphis is vinegar or is Memphis mustard?
Memphis.
I don't think it's mustard.
No, is Carolina? Carolina's mustard.
Carolina's mustard. Because
I do love Carolina. Yeah, I do love Carolina barbecue. It's a good barbecue, but yeah, I love a good vinegar-based barbecue.
Man, I want that.
Yeah, I mean, you got. What's your favorite? Because honestly, if I had to pick a favorite and least favorite, I think my least favorite barbecue sauce is actually Texas. I don't like Texas
What does
barbecue.
Texas
Yeah, I
do?
don't know what Texas
Like
is.
I've had like a Central Texas barbecue sauce like 1,000 times in my life. You know the biggest problem with it though is that it's actually too smoky.
Oh, that's
It's a
right. You're
real
you're
it's a much
noted hater
I'm
of
the noted smoke hater on this day. Yeah, I don't know. I don't like Texas barbecue as much as I do like a Memphis or like a Carolina.
I guess I don't know that I've had one. It's just ironic, honestly.
Yeah, you should branch it out. Try the different barbecue sauces. Especially when you go to like chains, they have more of them a lot of the time. Because if you go to a place in an actual region, a lot of times they're doing their own. We're doing a regional barbecue sauce. Like this is Erie style. I'm like, no, we don't have to do
No,
that.
thank you.
Exact right.
Well, I kind of want to go to the barbecue place in Erie. I haven't been there in a long time. There's a couple good ones.
Oh, we got a few now. There's Underdog, that's the one.
Underdog's
That's
like
the one that was on TV.
That was on television.
And I personally have beef with them just based on that. But also,
pretty
I've heard
good.
it's pretty good.
They're pretty
so.
good. A little overpriced, but they're pretty good. Barbecue's always overpriced.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah, it's just. Then there's Federal Hill, right?
Federal Hill, I've heard great things
I've
about
heard good
that.
things there too.
We
I
got
could-
Dickies, which I think is a chain.
And when you go to a place like Erie, though, no one has like a barbecue like style necessarily that they're trying to do. It's not like a region, but that's a good thing because that means that like a lot of times they'll have a Memphis style, they'll have a
They'll have like
Texas
a
style.
selection.
They'll have like different styles of barbecue sauce, and you can pick.
They're not sitting here trying to be pretentious about
Yeah.
how
They might not be
our
the
sauce
best.
style is the best. Yeah.
They might not be the best at what they're doing, but you can get a different variety, and that's always fun. When a place is just like really a barbecue place, like they just do an ode to all the different styles. Yeah, that's
Works for
good.
me.
Well, now that we are like almost 20 minutes from the episode and we've just talked about things that make me hungry, I'm not hungry at all.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, definitely not.
Yeah, no, I am definitely hungry. I'm not gonna lie,
Oh, as long as we're not lying, I'm also very hungry.
and I don't really appreciate that, but I do understand.
What do you mean you don't appreciate it? Me also being hungry?
No,
Get off my
I
case.
don't appreciate. I just don't appreciate that you've caused me to be to hunger.
Oh, I see how it is. Someone doesn't want to wait for dinner. You know how people are with waiting for dinner nowadays.
That's a good point. I think. Take it away, Dan.
Huh?
Take it away, Dan.
Where am I taking it? Where am I going?
Well, I don't know what's going on. What's going on in Danland? I mean, you know.
I got a job. That's cool.
You go-
I'm
you go to a
congratulations.
basketball
I'm once again gainfully employed, or I will be as of like the first of the month. So that's exciting.
Very happy for you.
I am genuinely so happy. It's one of those things where there's so much to do now. Like now that there's a deadline on my now that there's a deadline on my free time, I have so much I have to do and no time to do it, and that's just the way it is.
Yeah.
And then it's kind of back to that forever.
That I was talking to Michelle at that when I got unemployed, is that I don't have, like, it's insane to me to think that, like, in an ideal world I will never have as much free time as I did this past like month and a half, ever.
Yeah.
And, well, ever until I hit like retirement, which, let's be honest,
Exactly,
none of us
yeah,
are gonna
pretty much.
retire. But that's insane to me. Like that's such an insane concept, and really just doubles down the whole like the whole I can't believe that we work
We do
60
be working a
yeah,
lot.
like 60 fucking years and get so little. But yeah.
Yeah, I just got a piece of mail from work saying that if I work for the next 40 years, then I can fully retire. So that's yeah, all I got to do is wait till I'm 70. Then I'm good.
That's so upsetting. Like, and again, I do think it's worth repeating that, like, assuming a lot. Like I have
Dan thinks I'm gonna die before I'm 70. What
think-
the fuck,
I just
Dan?
I just genuinely have I don't think that I have kind of settled into mentally, like, I'm still saving for it as if it'll happen, but I genuinely don't think I'm ever going to be able to retire. Like, just the society we live in, like, I don't think that's going to happen for me.
Dan, today is a very happy day, pineapple upside down cake day.
Listen, there's
And
nothing.
I really don't want to think about sad
no.
things
I mean,
today.
I think that, like that's a little maybe true, but also what benefits you from thinking that?
Well,
Might as well still plan on it and try and crunch the
that's-
numbers for a world where it does exist.
That's what I was gonna say. I'm not doing that as a. What it does actually is it. Michelle and I have had a couple of talks about this, about how her and I have different opinions on how money should be spent. Me having willing to spend it on anything, and her a little more frugal. And part of it is it's a yes, I still plan for it. Yes, I have a retirement stuff, but it really has given me a sense of like, if something comes up, I'm not gonna be like, oh, it's fine, I'll be able to do it again later, because like I'm just gonna do it. And do I need this mindset to do it?
Yeah,
No.
I think think there's like a good in between there too.
Mm-hmm, absolutely.
Where like you can not punish yourself for living now.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're allowed to live now, and it's not like you shouldn't put it off and punish yourself for wanting to do things and be alive.
Exactly.
But like also be like, you know what? Maybe this time, not for me.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't have to come from like a sense of like cosmic urgency. I mean, it can, and if that's where you get it, that's where you get it, and that's cool.
I have the opposite of cosmic urgency. I have cosmic disinterest.
Okay.
I truly I've fully fallen into the absolutely none of this matters. So the only thing that matters is what we tell ourselves matters, and there's something kind of cool about that.
Yeah. I mean, also like for me, I think like the rest of my own life matters too. Where like 50 years from now, I'm gonna be like, damn it, like I'll be so mad at me, and like I know me, and I would be pissed.
And I think that's...
like I know Jackson. I'm like, dude, if in 50 years, if I fuck this up super bad, that guy is gonna be pissed. That's what I always think.
No, I think that's 100% fair.
Because he would.
Yeah, no, and it's one of those things where I always kind of like, if I'm doing something that I'm like, damn, I really should be doing insert thing that'll help my future. I always have this moment I'm like, no, I'm gonna remember the fact that I am enjoying the time now.
Yeah.
Right, and that's okay. You're allowed to just enjoy life as it is in this moment, and look back later and be like, you know what, it wasn't worth it, but it was worth it in the moment. So
yeah, and I think that's where there's a good half and half.
Mm-hmm.
Where you can be like, man, I'm glad I took that moment, but I shouldn't have taken that one.
Exactly.
Because if you take all of the moments, now you're just a hedonist.
Which, I mean...
Again, there are worse things on the planet to be. But I think that
all
old me would be mad at me.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not saying
for saying that there's worse things to be than a hedonist.
Yeah, I'm saying that you could do worse.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I would agree.
Like being like a bad like crime guy.
I do.
Oh, like if you were
Good
like,
old
like
crime
a
guy.
big, if you did if you did a lot of big crimes, that would be.
Yeah, no, that is
would
objectively
suck.
worse. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
See, all I was thinking was I actually have known a couple of like people who claim to be hedonists as they're like practicing like belief
Like
in
mindset,
life.
yeah.
And no, they act like it's a religion almost.
That's kind of cringe.
No, yeah, that's actually literally what I was about to say is my main takeaway
cringe.
from my experience with like quote unquote practicing hedonists is that they're really just embarrassing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, and like, have some shame. Be embarrassing like I am. But
You're
I mean,
embarrassing, but don't you worry, you're embarrassed too.
I'm embarrassing, but I'm embarrassing in the right way. That's just sarcasm. Thank you.
I liked it.
Very
It's like,
funny, sir.
sometimes it is insufferable to be around people that are like constantly embarrassing in public.
Yeah, absolutely.
Also, I think like the biggest issue is like people who are hedonists never think about the other cool ways that they should experience life. They're just kind of like a weird swinger couple.
No, that's fair.
You know, they're never out here saying like, I'm a hedonist, man. I went out into the mountains this morning and watched the sunrise just so I could experience that. And
They're like,
then
I'm a hedonist, I did heroin.
Exactly. Like, there's other pleasures you can get out of life.
And
And they're just working about what they can
That's fine. But like maybe the pleasure should be something different than crack.
Well, and I think that
maybe
there's a very easy argument to make that like, if the goal is to experience all the pleasures of the world, I don't know that crack is gonna even help you with that at all. Actually,
No, you don't understand, Dan. It wasn't meant to be its number 2 on the list, but it ended up there, so now it's also been every other item on the list.
You know what?
That's why it's. I mean, it genuinely is scary that like how easy it is to fall into addiction cycles.
Mm-hmm.
Pineapple upside down cake day.
Yeah, pineapple upside down.
Pineapple upside down cake day.
I really do want to make an apple cake now,
right?
Because I had forgotten about apple cake.
Yeah, well, because it's a slept on. It's a sleeper. Nobody like.
I think it's kind of regional. Like, is it? Or is this like a global thing? This is one of those where
Well,
we're probably going to be like, yeah, it's from around here. And then people are going to be like, no, idiots, that's from everywhere.
Well, I mean, I was looking up recipes real quick. Found a bunch of purple links, so clearly we've talked about this before. But yeah, everything is calling it. Oh, I Googled German apple cake. Let me rewind this real quick.
Yeah, the shredded apples.
Most
are like
of the
most
stuff I'm
important part.
seeing is still calling it a German apple cake, although the French style looks tasty. Regardless, though, it's definitely one of those things that I think in this part of the country might be kind of a here thing.
I
Okay.
think we got a lot of apple
Maybe
lore.
a couple of spots in the Midwest because a lot of Germans moved out in that direction as well.
Yeah,
So you'll have like a couple of spots. I love Midwest cooking, man.
I like
Because
a little
there's
bit of
some
that. Like,
real bad stuff to come out of there. Mayo salads. And I hate to say it, some of those go hard too.
a good old like nice Dutch apple pie is great. And maybe it's not like fully like an apple pie isn't necessarily an American thing, but
Yeah.
before we had like before we were regularly able to like know what was going on in a place like Germany, apple pie, everyone was like, yeah, hell yeah, apple pie, that's our thing. And then later we found out like, oh yeah, that's where we got it from. That makes a lot of sense.
Wow, we got the Dutch apple pie from the Dutch. This is insane.
I cannot believe this. But like I don't know, shit like Johnny Appleseed and like American folklore surrounding like what was native plant
my
life to
God.
these people.
Okay,
It's kind of
okay.
cool and like the
This-
cultivated stuff.
I just found the actual like
Oh, you found like a link?
like a link to actually what mine looks like. And the reason
Cool.
it's coming up odd and it's coming up as like the one that you're thinking of, Jackson, I think, is because it's technically called Apfelkuchen because it is usually given its German name. I thought my dad was just being bougie.
Goofy.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like a advanced. Yeah, it's got like the shredded apples in there.
The thing that for me sets it apart from like almost a coffee cake is that like hard like that pastry
Yeah,
layer top crust kind of
It's
thing.
almost. It's like a
like a
cakey
cheesecake.
crust.
Yeah, it's like a very cakey crust. Yeah. It's like,
Yeah, it's as close to a cake as you can get while still being like I would call it maybe a crust.
yeah, it's definitely still a crust.
I love like a good.
Yeah, it's the biggest difference is
Crust.
that it's like a glazed. At least the one I've had as a kid.
Yeah,
was, it's like
I'm
a
familiar with
glazed
it with like a brown sugar, not a glaze
Yeah.
like that.
God,
Or
I
some
want it
sort
so
of
bad.
like egg wash or something to give it a little bit of a
A fir-
gold covering.
You want the firmness is what the like the Apfelkuchen goal is to get that like you can almost a really well made Apfelkuchen you can almost eat it like a piece like hold in your hand like a piece of pie.
I eat most all cakes and pies like kind of like that if I can.
I do too. I think
It's more fun that way.
Like
It is,
eating a pie
yeah.
with your hands like a slice of pizza
Oh yeah.
is
That's the dream.
If you got a good pie, you can do that, and I think that should be more acceptable.
No, I agree 100%. Like,
But I feel like you get kind of judged in a lot of circles.
like a god dang Looney Tunes character.
yeah, I feel like you get judged in a lot of circles if you
big-
were to like just pick up a piece of pie and start eating it.
Right? It's big like uncle at the picnic energy. But also that's
Come on, Jay, you can do it.
if the pie is cool enough.
If the pie is right,
and if it's
You
been
must
made
acquit.
properly for it, there is no reason not to just pick it up and go, I love this apple pie. You know?
yeah, and I think people think that you have to eat pie with like a fork, and if you got like ice cream in the mix, you gotta
sure,
use a
of
fork.
course.
It's
And
like it's unreasonable to
I
expect
think
you.
here's the issue though. I think enough people eat pies when they're too hot so that they don't think about the fact that
Or they
when
reheat
a pie,
it. I mean, a
or you
reheated pie
reheat it.
is a great thing.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. But they don't think about the fact that a warm pie, obviously you can't eat a warm pie in your hand.
It's true.
But once the pie
Idiot.
filling
Why would
gets
you think
more
you
to
could?
like it gets more to like a tart consistency, and apple pies should, I think, a lot of people serve apple pies a little bit too wet.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
No, I can agree. I mean, I also think that like whipped cream is ideal on a pie.
Oh, without a doubt.
And you can still maintain like the slice, like pizza style eating if you just put like a thin layer of whipped cream on top.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
But if you give me a plate, I will put like as much whipped cream
You'll put a can,
as there is
an entire
pie.
like bowl.
I mean, I can do 1-to-1 if need be. Like I could have a 1-to-1 ratio.
oh yeah, no, that's a Dietz family staple is either my mom or my sister, I think, are the whipped cream fiends as of right
and
now.
I feel like you gotta be allowed.
It's a plateful.
And I feel like we've got to have a society where no one is judged for the amount of whipped cream they do or don't put on their pie.
100%.
Even if you put no whipped cream, I still like I respect you as an enthusiast. But if I want to put
I definitely
a
do.
full plate of whipped cream on a slice of pie, also no one should be like, that's a lot of whipped cream.
You're like, yeah, I know. That's why I did it.
Yeah.
The only time, so I don't like whipped cream, just as a generalized rule. I'll have it in some things, but like I would say, like 10 times out of 11, I will not have. Like I just don't like it very much. However, Michelle is a huge whipped cream fan. The only time I judge her for it is when she does the just fucking spray it directly into your mouth. I can't help but judge you a little bit for that. I'm sorry.
Fuck off.
Fuck off.
Dan
I'm
hates
sorry.
fun.
No,
Dan
sorry.
hates
Listen.
fun.
I hate
Listen.
it. This guy's having a good time.
No, you can have a good time. Just then don't put it back in the fridge where I then have to like.
They're
If
It doesn't go in your mouth. Like, what are you, a
Oh.
lunatic? You're not like sucking on the tip.
It genuinely always looks like people are sucking on the tip. I gotta be real with you.
No, if you do that, that would be so weird. And
Yeah,
it
no, you
wouldn't
do
work.
the big open mouth and go,
So gross.
and it sounds like you're gagging because the sound it makes echoes through your mouth for a second.
Yeah,
It's so
why you
It's
gotta
not
be hating?
that they're not deep throating a whipped cream
Yeah, no
can,
one's
Dan.
touching. It's like waterfalling it. That's legal.
Now, if
In the
it's
double dipping code,
gonna
waterfalling
say-
is allowed.
if Michelle is just like closed mouth spraying it into her mouth, honestly, Dan, as the non-whipped cream user,
Yeah, turn away.
you lost your vote.
No,
you
no,
should have voted in the last
absolutely.
whipped cream election.
Yeah.
That's not on us. That's on
That's
you,
true.
buddy.
Yes, the yearly whipped creamery.
It's her damn whipped cream.
No, and that's the thing is, I never am gonna sit there like that. And that's literally what I do. I see her go for some whipped cream, and I'm just like, I'm gonna look the other direction because I can't. It grosses me
Man,
out
this guy
so
can't
much.
even look at how much you want to bet she was whooping and having a good time.
Whooping and hollering and having a jovial
And
day.
you know what? She deserves it. I'm glad that she has a good time with her whipped cream.
It's nice. It's nice to just like have like a, I don't know, a mouthful of whipped cream. Like it's a pleasant thing to just go to the fridge and do.
Yeah.
I don't do it frequently because I'm not really like, I don't keep whipped
Gremlins.
cream in my house. Like
Yeah,
it's,
of course not.
It's not like I keep a bottle of whipped cream in the fridge at all
we
times.
do.
See,
Okay.
like for me, this only happens like if I have whipped cream, it's because I bought it for something,
Yeah, same.
and it's like a couple days after I needed it. So like it's gonna go bad, or I could just spray it in my mouth every couple days and
Until
then
it's all gone.
throw it out when it expires.
That's fair.
I usually won't even finish the can up half the time.
Okay, actually, I have such an important question about whipped cream though.
What's up? What do you got?
We're all talking about canned whipped cream, but do you prefer the canned spray whipped cream that's like really aerated, or do you enjoy a heavier whipped cream, like a Ready Whip style?
Cool
almost?
Whip.
Like a Cool Whip, like a scoop out of the container.
I actually
I like the spray usually, but I'm down with both.
Okay.
I have my again back to like childhood desserts because
God, we're just talking about food still.
it's one of those things
That's
where
because it's pineapple upside down cake day.
Yes.
we're all a little snacky. One of those things that I kind of didn't realize wasn't really as far as I know, it wasn't really a thing outside of my house. When I mentioned to other people, they're confused. When I was a kid, my parents used to get a case of Cool Whip and like one single sleeve of Oreos, shove all the Oreos into a blender,
Oh, and then and just hit it with a Cool Whip,
mix
mix the whole thing
mix
together.
them all together, and then freeze it, and it would come out this like very thick, like get a spoonful, like almost in the same way that you handle like a spray of Cool Whip. Go get a spoonful of it as a little. You can have a spoonful of it as a treat, kind of thing.
I feel like I get the premise, and I think I've had it as like a cookies and cream mousse on like a cake or
kind of
something
thing.
before, but
Exactly.
I like not frozen, and like I get the allure though, because that'd be good.
It was super good. I always preferred the peanut butter because I've always preferred the peanut butter Oreos. Don't at me.
No, I mean that just sounds like if you did that with like peanut butter and Cool Whip, it'd be really good.
Yeah, dude.
I always loved when you do a similar thing where you like grind up the Oreos and then you make them into like the Oreo like truffle balls or
Mhm,
whatever people call them. Yeah, with just cream cheese basically and the ground up Oreos with some sugar in there.
Yeah. I not a huge cream cheese fan either. Although I've been getting better about it.
Of course
I've been
you're
trying.
not.
I've been trying. Okay, I'm trying. So, Michelle. Not to like just keep bringing up Michelle all the day, but whatever. Whatever. She's my wife. Who gives a shit? Anyway.
It's almost like you live together.
Exactly. It's
And do a
almost
lot
like I
of things
spend night
together.
like she's the person I spend like most conversation time with. Anyway, fucking. So I hate both sour cream and cream cheese, and I know they're not much like a Reuben and a Cuban, not at all the same.
No, they are though to the genre.
Exactly, but that's the same. They're still
To,
the same
to
genre.
the genre of food hater.
Exactly.
People who hate sour cream hate cream cheese.
Yeah.
And you are right.
I don't know why.
It's like the tanginess, I think.
For me, well, for sour cream, I full on can't stand the smell. It like I have the same problem with a lot of yogurts. It makes me gag. It's just, to me, it just smells like rotten milk. Like, yeah.
This dude's nose broke?
Yes,
Maybe.
it is. No, sour cream. I fully gag at the smell of sour cream. It is. I will defend myself by simply saying it is literally cream that has gone sour intentionally, but nonetheless, That's gross.
In a controlled
not
manner.
in that way. It's not
Yeah.
like they let it get old.
It's gross.
Although that is
I
how
gotta
creme
hold
fraiche
on.
works.
I'm getting a phone call that I don't recognize. I gotta answer this 1 second.
Oh, don't worry. We can
safe.
fill.
Yeah, I like sour cream.
I am a
In
huge
fact,
fan of sour
I
cream.
like it a lot. And if anyone disagrees, they can speak their piece.
They can.
Nice.
Oh wow, no
Yeah,
one
no,
said anything.
I like. I
yeah.
feel like sour cream is such a game changer on like a taco.
Oh,
Like,
100%.
and I feel like not enough people put it on there by default. Like it
It
sucks that you have
needs
to
to be
pay
a
extra,
default,
like almost
right?
always. Or you go to like a restaurant and you get like a little thing of sour cream and then
Right.
like 4 tacos and you're like, okay, this isn't enough. But like fajitas, you gotta have as much sour cream as possible.
100%. And it's the issue I have, especially, is if you gave it to me in one of those little like squeeze bottles, you know, that they make more of like a creme fraiche
Or
style.
like borscht. If you're having like borscht and like you can't get enough sour cream, like you just need like however
need
much
it.
they give you is never enough.
If they gave me one of those, not only would I use less sour cream in trying to eat my stuff, though, if they gave me a little squeeze bottle of it, I would use less sour cream. It would just work so much better, man. I don't want 5 side cups. I want 2 cups worth in a format that I can
Yeah,
spread.
or if you go to like Wendy's and they give you those weird pouches.
Oh,
you have
I
to, like,
hate a weird
cardboard.
pouch.
You have to like tear and like squeeze. Yeah, it's just just come on, put a scoop on there. We're all right.
Right.
But there's a lot of sour cream haters in this world, so I can't be like the world should cater to me because there's a lot of sour cream deniers.
Yeah. None here. So that's
luckily.
fine.
Cream cheese too. Like I've sung the praises of cream cheese many a time.
Mm-hmm.
It's delightful. It's it's really the only kind of frosting I would ever get excited for. Like if I'm eating something that's like frosted, I don't really care about like most forms of buttercream, royal icing, American buttercream. They don't matter to me. But cream cheese frosting, that means something. Like a peanut butter cream cheese frosted chocolate cake.
It is really good.
It's just good, yeah.
Honestly, cream cheese frosting is just so easy to make.
I think it's
too.
easy to make, and honestly, I think all frosting is easier to make than people think.
Oh,
But like
100%.
cream cheese frosting is easy to make and it's delightful.
It really,
I'm
is.
really in my baking era. This is my baking. Yeah, this is my baking era for sure. I've been making pies like crazy. Now I'm considering branching out and making an apple
Baked
cake, which
goods.
again I think is now that I'm getting pies pretty good.
Yeah.
I think
It's not a big
still
jump.
like
using
the apple
crust.
cake. Yeah, and like, especially because the apple
who's
cake
that
is
back?
more
Oh.
pie than cake.
Oh,
Almost. So
okay,
it's
wait
a
minute, wait
natural
minute.
next
Dan,
step.
you're gonna hate this idea. Jackson,
Yeah.
you know how there's like sour cream cakes?
No, stop.
Kind of. I've had like a sour cream donut before.
Cease and
Apple
also,
sour cream.
Cease and also desist.
And I mean, I've had like an apple sour cream donut before.
I love sour cream donuts. Honestly,
good,
sour
yeah.
cream donuts are the goated donut.
I
They're my
don't
favorites.
agree. I can't get behind that.
Oh, you're a crueler fan, aren't you?
No, I'm not a crueler fan.
What?
I'm a
What do you mean?
crueler denier.
Why would you say that?
I just think they're eh.
Wow.
I love a good old like a good filled donut,
I love a filled donut
I love a
too,
good like a
but-
maple long john.
Yeah,
That
that's
might be like
cool,
one of
but
the best donuts.
Man, my top 2 are like a honey cruller and like a cake donut.
No, if you give me like a sweet like a custard punchki, that's the perfect donut.
I've never had that, so I'll take your word for it.
It's like a they're like
I love a custard donut.
yeah, I
though.
mean like a Boston cream donut is like the perfect donut, but if you give it like the punchki format, which is a little more cakey, like there's a little more oomph to the dough.
Oh, it would actually just be like having a Boston cream pie.
Not quite, because it's still
But
like it's still a donut. Like
A cake that is almost too wet.
there's probably somebody from
I would
Michigan
like to
right now
say.
that's gonna like stab me in the throat for saying a punchki is a donut, and I'm like all the Michigan individuals coming for me.
Big Michigan moment on the podcast.
Big Gretsch laying
Boy.
down the law.
I'm a blueberry glazed fan.
I also like a
Ooh, good one.
a blueberry cake
donut.
donut is definitely
Can-
for me better than the blueberry glazed.
Can we talk about the fact real quick?
Can we talk about something other than food?
Oh my God.
Jesus,
Dunkin'
I'm getting-
Donuts fucking
Stop.
discontinued their blueberry donuts.
Oh, that sucks.
It's
It does suck
It-
because theirs were okay too.
theirs were
Tim
good.
Hortons is pretty good.
We don't have a Tim Hortons around here.
But I didn't say you did.
Tim Hortons. I don't really even have that many. I have some Krispy Kreme, but like
I respect Krispy Kreme, but I'm not a
Same.
Krispy Kreme partaker.
same.
Like I like them, and like a fresh, like a classic Krispy Kreme donut when they're hot is like unbeatable.
I do think Krispy Kreme has the best, like no topping, no nothing, just a donut. Best one.
And when they're fresh, it's unreal.
Yeah,
but-
I 100% agree.
I don't ever get them, and I couldn't tell you why. They're so fluffy too. We gotta stop talking
God, I'm
about
so hungry.
We do.
food.
We got food.
What
in the
else is
other
going on in
room,
the world that's
and we
not
can't
food?
touch it. There's so much going on in the world. Oh, okay. So this is also kind of about food, but bear with me.
Come on.
So I got out of work today, and I just knew I had to share with you guys that I got to destroy 60 bottles of champagne
Oh,
because
hell
they
yeah.
were all explosion threats. Every one of them had scored
Oh,
glass.
nice.
Oh my god.
So I got to pop 60 bottles of champagne.
Did you just chuck them?
Yes.
Hell yeah.
Which
Did you try any of them first?
I like my job,
Ah,
Dan.
fair
I
enough.
don't want to be fired for drinking dispose of this
Yeah,
product.
and not only drinking dispose of this product, but also like it did have like the scored glass, so like you could be getting a little fiberglass action.
No, there's none in
No, there
the,
wouldn't be any like particulates.
No, it was all
like,
scoring on the outside.
Okay.
And it was light enough, it was probably fine, but we got the word down. Someone must have had a bottle explode because we were told find any bottle with any scoring on the glass.
Yeah.
5 cases
My
of
God.
wine down the drain. But it is very interesting to me how quickly you get over the I'm popping champagne nervousness.
Oh yeah, that's really fair.
Once you hit
Yeah.
like the third one, you're just like, all right, I think I'm getting there. Your first like 5 or so. Once you hit bottle 6 and
Especially when,
on
like-
through 60, it's just like, oh, this one seems like its cork is longer than the others because it took me 2 twists to get it out. This must not be under enough pressure. Oh wow, this one exploded. That might set you back to bottle 1 for like a second. But
Did one of them explode on you?
I opened it and it started spraying, so I think it just
Hell
got
yeah.
jostled around too much.
Because that's the other part that would make it a little more like a little less fun. Is the whole time you're like, this could just explode.
That was
And just,
actually
like,
100%
get me
it.
soaked.
Shout out to my coworker who was just like, "Hey Noah, put on some safety goggles." When
That's fair.
thanks, man. Do you have any? Although you guys ever do the beer bottle trick where someone runs it up the edge and then pops it on the top?
I've
not.
seen people do it. I don't know how they do it.
I've never done it to someone or had it done to me, but like I've seen it done, and every time I've been like, that was kind of rude.
It is. It definitely is.
If someone did that to me when I was drinking a beer, I'd just be like, oh man.
See, I got to do it to me because I was just like, well, does this actually work or is this like some weird thing? It does work. Champagne works just as well as beer when it comes
I would
to
argue
it.
it might work better.
It did, in fact, work better. Wow, you're good at this. That popped. That really popped.
The bottle exploded?
It went a solid like 6 inches into the air, the spray that came out,
That's pretty cool.
which was frightening since I was holding them both in my hand.
Well, yeah.
And
Yeah, no, I've never done that, but I have seen it done even in real life before. And I was like, oh. The guy who did it was kind of a piece of shit.
here's the thing. I don't think it matters as much if you're drinking like a Bud. That's one thing. But so many people drink like $3, $4, $5, $6 beers now.
Yeah.
I personally, if someone did that to
and
me,
it
we'd
depends on
fight.
if I was somewhere where I paid
I would
$3
be in the
for it,
wrong because there's no reason to assault someone over wasting a $3 beer.
Yeah, I would just be like, oh.
But also, how many $3 beers am I in at this point? Because I'm gonna get obstinate.
If somebody
and, like, belligerent at
if
least.
somebody like did that to a beer that I was drinking that I paid like $4 for, I would just be like kind of sad. But then I'd be like, whatever. I'm just not hanging out with this person anymore.
See, my option is to fight, and then we'll probably be fine. Jackson's option is to burn the friendship.
Well, yeah, because
It's
like
like,
they
you
did
know
that
what?
to me.
This isn't worth my time anymore.
It's like, yeah, I'm better than this. Unless it was like really funny. If it was
That's
funny,
true. If it shot like
Or-
a few inches in the air,
yeah.
and you went, whoa.
or again, if this was somewhere where we were just like sitting around a campfire with like a case of Bud Light,
Oh, 100%.
I wouldn't give a shit. I would be like,
If
dude,
someone goes,
fuck off.
"Hey man, cheers," and you do the dink, and then he pops it,
I
that
would-
would be
I would be
hilarious.
disheartened, perhaps for a moment, because I'd be like, and I gotta deal with this. But then I
I
would
got
be
to
like,
deal with this exploding beer.
and then I'd be like, come on, like I wasted that. But then I would just get another, and it'd be funny. But if I'm drinking like a barrel-aged stout and someone did that to me, I'd be like, dude, that was kind of fucked up.
That was a $17 beer, my guy.
Like I was enjoying that as like its own experience.
Yo, so here's my Noah's big embarrassing story of the day. I actually bought a $15 single bottle of beer once.
That's fine, I
And I'm-
suppose.
Not gonna lie to you, it was delicious.
Yeah, that's
but
fine.
in my mind,
Was
I'm
it
like,
Dogfish Head?
no, it was
Okay.
Southern Tier.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, it was one that they did in rum barrels. It was their pumpkin.
Oh.
It was really good, and I didn't think about the fact that this is like a liter plus of beer, and that beer, much like wine, has a very short shelf life.
Yeah, you can't just like open
except
it and leave
unlike wine, where you can drink it up to like 5 days or so later without it being an issue. Beer doesn't even last as long as champagne. If you recover it and put it in the fridge, it's flat immediately. So I had to sit there and drink a liter of heavy rum beer.
Hey, you know,
It was
once in a lifetime. I suppose.
100% worth it though.
Since I pretty much slowly drink ciders. You're like, oh yeah, $6 beers, and I'm like, that's almost all. Like that's about the price of my ciders these days. Maybe like $5, but still.
Yeah, I guess if the best you can get is like an Angry Orchard.
Yeah.
Like for cheap wise.
Yeah.
That's a.
I mean, Angry Orchard's fine, but if I can get anything better, it's better.
Not? I haven't had a good cider in a while.
Oh man, let me send you some down east.
I have had very few drinks in general for a while. Like I'm not a drink head. Not a drunkard. But really, like I just don't really drink that
honestly,
often.
Not to get biblical on us.
Not to get biblical,
you
but
really struck me as just a hedonist.
I mean, exactly. You know, that's what they always say. Because even though there was like a time when Jackson's Beer Corner was a thing, even then it was like I've had 3 beers this week. Like I was never into like heavy drinking, but I forgot how much I enjoy just like some aspects of craft beer culture. Where I'm like, some things about this are cool. When you encounter people that you like that are also into it, but you like them as people and they're kind of into it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very
that makes
different.
a huge difference as opposed to when it's like you're just interacting with someone on Reddit who likes it and you're like, oh my God, fuck off.
Yeah, 100%.
That's how I feel about wine. Because anyone who I've met who's like into wine is totally insufferable. But I really love learning about like, yeah, champagne is just sparkling wine, but it's also a legally protected definition of wine that even the French can't all make. You know, it's just like, or like different like export standards, like to be allowed to be exported from a country, things have to meet certain quality requirements in certain countries, you know, like that pride themselves on certain ingredients. It's like, we're not sending out anything below like B grade, most likely, but you know, like stuff like that. Like there's legal things like that in the world. And that's how I feel about like wine. It's just like, wow, you really care about all this stuff. And you know, the different soils bring so much different flavor. And then I have someone who's like, excuse me, do you have a clay soil South African wine? And I'm like, I don't know.
That's a great
Like,
question.
well,
Thank you for asking.
What about a gravelly dry white with notes of petrol
Sediment.
and sediment? It's like,
Yes, I can tell this for sure.
I got nothing.
Cursed. So
I got
cursed.
nothing. I'm so glad that I don't work at a store that like has a heavy wine presence, because people like that come in all the time, but they also don't expect us to know shit, and that's great.
Yeah, it would suck if they were like, "Oh, you really don't know?" You're like, "No, man, I
Honestly,
don't know about the gravelly rosé."
No, the worst people, honestly, are old ladies who are like in their 70s or 80s who want to know which one of these is better, and they'll come up with 2 white Zinfandels, and I'm like, I don't know. And they're like, oh, you've never tried them? No. Oh, I just assumed since you worked here, you would have tried them. As if I've had time to try like the 1,000+ items in the store.
Just try it. Or like not even the time, but like the ability. Like not only like fine, even if they, let's say, assume they were all free, like you got 1 free of everything, which like that's not even true. But like let's say you did, it would still not be a quick process. That would be so much wine and like spirits you would have to be drinking.
Right?
Like that's a lot.
Can you
and then
imagine
like taking notes on and then remembering.
Oh my God! Can you imagine just trying to remember the tasting notes for 5 Cabernets?
I could never.
Could not be
my white ass when I'm told to remember 5 Cabernets.
George Bush, Dwight Eisenhower.
No, those were presidents.
Oh, fuck. I don't know any cabinet members.
Tom Ridge.
Tom Ridge Environmental Center.
Take it away, Dan.
No, I don't want to add anything to that. That's.
You don't have to no-sell it that hard.
I just don't have anything. Listen, you guys, I'm gonna be honest with you. You guys started talking about wine, and I fully zoned out. Like I fully checked out of the conversation. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I don't know. I like wine, but I never drink it because you have to pay money for it. And I don't like wine. I don't like wine in an amount that costs any money. I like wine conceptually. I don't like wine parentheses that'll be $4. I don't like it that much. It's not like I wouldn't. I'm like I don't have $4. I could pay. I just don't. I'd rather like I don't know buy some fries with $4. Like there's a million things I like more than wine for $4. So I'd just be like nah. But if it's free, I'm all about it. And sometimes I can convince myself and be like, yeah, I'll spend the $15 on wine. It's not very frequently that it happens, but it's happened before.
I do love wine, so I can convince myself of that quite easily.
You see, I like it conceptually, but in practice, I never have that good of a time. So I'm just kind of like if it's there, I'll try and enjoy it and I'll make the best of it. But I'm not gonna pay for it, I suppose. In the not I'm being a cheap asshole and just like I don't really care that much.
No, understandable. I have a hard time. So I have kind of the similar experience with cocktails a lot. Like I really love a good cocktail, but like
$12.
It's like 17 here in the city. I've paid for a $17 cocktail here in New York. It is a nightmare. Send help.
Yeah, I have too. We have a couple of those in town. And in fairness, if they actually are the premium cocktail for $17,
They aren't.
I can usually make myself believe it's worth it.
They aren't.
I can't.
I wish.
$17 with a Luxardo cherry that's been smoked.
No.
Jackson's fuming right now. Steaming, one might say.
just,
Smoking,
like-
one wouldn't say.
Would not
I'm just
say.
like, $17.
$17 is a lot of fucking money, dude. I gotta be real.
Oh, it is. That's why I have one.
That's
and
why
then I'm
I
like,
say
well, I'm leaving now.
$17.
What I have been doing though, because I have a collection of booze in this stupid house. I've been anytime I go out somewhere and I'm like, oh, that looks like a good cocktail. I might want to try that. I literally just take a fucking picture of what it has in it, and then I go home and try and like reverse engineer it, which has been working. It works about half the time. The other half the time, I'm just like, they did not put everything on there that they needed to.
It makes me wonder if you could find these recipes online, perhaps.
Some you can. Some you definitely can. But if it's like a small bar in New York or something, they're not gonna.
Yeah, a lot of times like they won't. Even if you can like look at the recipe, you don't know like the proportions. It's not like when you order it on the menu, it says 3/4 ounce of lemon juice. It just says lemon juice.
Exactly. But
Yeah.
I mean,
So it's hard. Yeah, like it's.
Well, and that's the thing is, I think that I'm like, I like to think I'm good enough at it at this point that I can like make an educated guess what I should like balance things out with. But it really is a lot of like genuinely just try your best. Good luck.
If I may make a recommendation to you,
Absolutely.
you should get yourself a little eyedropper and make a high saline solution, because that's something a lot of like different bars are adding to their drinks to help open the flavors up. Is
Interesting.
very little water with a. There's percentages. You can look it up and actually like get a good recommendation. But a lot of people have been doing that, and it really does bring a lot out in the drink.
Interesting. You know what? I'll be honest with you. I never ever would have considered that.
I mean, I feel like it's restaurant's secret weapon, right? Like, you don't know how much butter is in your food, a lot,
It's
and you
so
don't know how
much.
much salt is in your food, more than you think it is.
Yeah, you don't know how much butter, you don't know how much salt, and I think with alcohol, really, a lot of times you don't know how little alcohol is in your drinks.
That
Yeah.
also.
Sometimes not the case, but
Mhm.
a lot of times people who mix drinks at home or just only get them out will forget that like it doesn't take a lot of alcohol to make something taste strong like alcohol.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's a really fucking strong flavor, and it can overpower a lot. So you can make a surprisingly strong tasting thing that's not that strong.
Yeah.
in terms of
and
actual
vice, and
liquor.
vice versa, it's
Yeah,
when,
exactly.
Then you find that like Saint Germain has a really nice thing where it for me it masks a lot of like that heavy alcohol bite. And so I've made drinks at Saint Germain that I'm like, oh yeah, there's like 6 shots in here and I can't taste a fucking thing.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like there's other.
That's the
Depending
other
on
side
where
of it.
you're at, but usually if you're buying it, that's not what you're getting. But if you're making it, or if you're like somewhere, that's very possible that it's been like served to you at a function.
Mhm.
But that's a little less of like you're paying for it, because if they can get away with not
Yep.
putting the most expensive part of the cocktail in the cocktail, yeah, they're
will.
gonna do that. I'm gonna make elderflower liqueur again this year.
If Jackson, I want you to teach me how to make elderflower liqueur.
It's
Step one
elderflowers
is you
and
have
vodka.
so many elderflowers.
No, not even that many. Just like fill up a jar, and then you obviously like clean them up and try and get rid of the stems whenever you can, and then just put it in vodka.
Important
any
to
kind of
note
neutral
for this
green spirit.
plan,
and let it soak for 3 weeks, 4
Make
weeks.
sure they're not sprayed plants if you're going to be eating them. A lot of plant sprays are not safe to be eaten.
It is insane that like so many of those like flavored whatever is take the thing, stick it in there, and just let it vibe for a while.
Well, that's how you like infuse like the botanical element of it, and then if you're making like right after that's done, you basically have elderflower extract, for lack of a better term. And if you mix it with like a simple syrup, essentially, you got elderflower liqueur.
That sounds like a delight.
You just thicken it up with sugar.
I think my favorite thing is that infusion works in so many different ways too. I was watching a guy on YouTube who his goal for the last couple weeks had been just to make a mint, like a way to preserve the fresh mint taste, like a mint syrup or something. And he tried cooking it and it didn't work. He tried cold infusion and that didn't work. And he was like, well, I'm in a bit of a loss right now. I'm going to, see what I can do, but it's not looking good. What he ended up doing was taking mint, stuffing one of those aerosol cans full of it, or like whipped cream aerosol cans, poured rum in with that because he wanted fresh lime fresh mint that he could use in a mojito, like just a shelf stable mojito. And what he ended up doing was he double hit it with the infusion setup and managed to get all of this mint flavor, like fresh mint, into just plain rum.
God, I love that.
Now, in fairness, the man has not checked back in about it later. I'm sure that if I DM'd him, I'd be like, hey, just curious, how shelf stable was that mint infusion,
Mm-hmm. If he would
Yeah,
give
the more fresh it is, the less shelf stable it is.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Like that's kind of, you have to sacrifice the freshness to make it shelf stable.
Yeah.
And if you make it extra fresh, that's fine. But the payoff, like the consequence is now you can't stabilize it.
Yeah, you have to be willing to accept.
Somewhere you're going to have a little bit of a falter.
Yeah, I think when it comes to making like syrups and sauces and infusions, really like all the main thing is that you just have to know what the different stuff is soluble in.
Mhm.
Because like most things aren't water soluble, but some of them are, and then some things are alcohol, like you can solve them in alcohol, and some things are like oil solvable, so it's like fat solvent. So you can you can infuse different things different ways, and it's kind of cool. But
the thing I'm really interested in right now is clarified cocktails. I saw a guy on TikTok making a big batch of like a tiki cocktail, so a lot of acid is in there, clarifying it in milk. And as such, it becomes shelf stable.
I don't have any like.
it can't be as like you have to lose like something. It can't be as good.
Well,
Yeah.
it cuts some of the, because you add a little extra acid and it cuts the acid, mellows it, and adds a like velvety mouthfeel because you have cream in there. But the milk curdles immediately because of the acid. So you strain everything out, but you're left with the texture that the milk helps provide.
That'd be weird.
I'm very interested in the idea of it, but also not enough to like the quantities this man makes drinks in. I mean, you're making like 2/5 of something, and I need a lot of ingredients to make it happen.
Yeah, it brings me back to like the those shitty old like Facebook and YouTube videos that would just be like people making drinks.
Oh yeah,
I
like
love,
Tipsy Bartender.
like Tipsy Bartender
God,
tier.
I hate
Like,
that man. I love him.
fucking love shitbag idiot
Makes
liquor
drink.
videos.
Oh,
Where
yeah.
it's just like, oh, this is gonna be the coolest because it's got the most vodka. Vodka's the one you drink that makes you the most drunk. So we mix it with the cranberry, and you're like, hey, nothing wrong with the vodka cranberry.
No.
And then they're
Classic.
like, and then we add a gallon of blue curacao, and that's why I will fucking hate blue curacao till the day I die.
Yeah,
It's the worst thing on the planet, and it's like because of people like blue curacao existing,
I'm so sad.
we let our society degrade.
I'm genuinely so sad for you.
It's a lie, and it's made to make people like the Tipsy Bartender go, it's cool because it's blue. It's an orange liqueur.
This man out here doesn't want his RGB liquor, and I can't
No.
stand by that.
Look at the worst people. What are they drinking? I don't know, but it's probably got blue curacao in it.
Oh my
oh my god,
Curacao.
that's so
Tell me
true.
I'm wrong.
So true,
Uh,
bestie.
Think of the worst person.
Okay, but here's the
Ever.
thing. I think you are forgetting about the existence of the old fashioned or the Manhattan, a wildly
is
divisive
true,
drink in
But that's
the
for old people, and I've
asshole.
already written them off.
Oh, fair enough, fair enough.
Understandable. Have a nice day.
This is like college
But what
shitbag.
about like whiskey sours?
Yeah, whiskey sours.
Whiskey sours are for the college shitbag who knows he doesn't like whiskey but has to look cool anyway.
Hey, how about you go fuck yourself?
Hey, I was also offended when my cousin told me that. I was so offended.
How about?
If you get
But
mad,
she was right.
maybe you should get mad.
I really do like whiskey sours a lot, actually.
Me too.
That's allowed. You got to be okay with people hating on things you like and opening the things you like to being hated on. 'Cause
Dan, a
sometimes whiskey
noted Star
sour
Wars
is
fan,
bad.
is just like, I'm not open to people hating what I like.
Why does God give his hardest warriors?
You're his hardest warrior?
Here's hardest warrior.
After 4 hours? Dan, you got to get that looked into.
I thought you didn't like the guy.
Listen, you don't have to like. I'm not gonna go into that joke. Never
I
mind.
wasn't going with the same lane Noah was. I was trying to keep it PG.
Yeah, we're. This is so much for our classy era, honestly.
Oh, that's right. You guys had that. I wasn't there in the classy era episode, so I'm not. I'm
not-
never going into
Jackson,
these days.
OTA
thinking I'm
enters its
staying
classy era.
Jackson, may I extend an official invitation to enter the classy era?
I don't know if I can accept that.
Okay, that's fair.
Oh my god, Dan, Jackson's leaning over and ripping from the Baby Yoda bong right now.
Yeah.
Oh no!
based in Jacksonville.
I did see a Baby Yoda bong. We discussed
I
this.
saw the I was not.
I
here
saw
last
that.
week.
Yeah, we discussed it.
I was not here last week, and all I get out of nowhere at like 2:50 on a Sunday afternoon is just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 photos of Baby Yoda bong, and I
In fairness, the first one Jackson saw in person. The other one, not
I
so
saw
much.
it.
I was so
it was like-
unprepared.
It was like seeing your heroes in the supermarket.
He could have reached out and touched it.
Like I saw the Baby Yoda bong. I met him.
I have like insanely behind on The Mandalorian because until now I haven't had a way to watch it without torrenting it, and I haven't been a pirate lately. Anyway,
Oh, don't let me spoil too much for you, but I heard they have a giant bong and they
even
stick
better.
Baby Yoda in
Even
it.
better. It's even better. They lean into the fact that at one point, I literally all I saw was a walk cycle, like 5 seconds of a clip. They lean into Baby Yoda's walking because obviously he floats around the entire first season, and the man walks like he's one of those like a parade float that has like the wheels that move the legs back and forth. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
Oh my
That's
god.
what he walks like, and it's so funny.
that's pretty cool.
It's
I love that.
honestly, people are like, I can't believe they should just go back. What happened to the puppetry? And I'm like, no, you shut your mouth. This is peak Star Wars right here. How dare you?
He's just a little guy.
Yeah,
He's
the
just
peak
a
Star
little
Wars going
guy.
from something that
and
works
that's why
really
it's
well
so
to something
sad.
that's ass.
It's so sad that they put him in the bong.
They smoked Baby Yoda?
They smoked
They
that
smoked
shit.
him.
Oh my god. I guess he's green for a reason, but still.
Oh, the Mandalorian passes you the boof, and it's just Baby Yoda in his signature bong. That was in the second season of the show. Dan hasn't seen it yet.
Yeah.
It's on me.
Yeah, I watched the first couple episodes of it.
It's good. It sure is a space western.
Yeah, I was like, I didn't continue it, but I was like, I have no ill will.
Yeah. I watched I think the first season and then I just never
Is
went
it-
back to it. It's good. I like it.
Is it still like all 3 seasons? Is this like still being well respected,
No.
or is it?
The last season people are real mad about, but it's
Ooh, it
This-
fell off.
Season 3 blows from everything I
Oh,
hear. Season
shit.
2, well, here's the issue. People were not excited. Well, people who with media literacy weren't excited because season 2 ends the story really, really well.
so well.
And then Jon Favreau's just like, yeah, we're actually we got
Chef?
no end in sight for this show. It's just gonna go.
Oh, shit.
And they started releasing season 3, which has been middling quality since there's nothing to build to. It's gone supernatural already.
Oh, wow.
And
Like the TV show.
The thing
Yeah.
is, I liked the ending of season 2, but I would have rather them just not end it that way if they were gonna, like, that felt like it should have been the end of the show and it would have been fine. I do like some of the stuff they're doing with new Mandalorians though. They're very cool. Sabine Wren is the shit. as is no Sabine's in in Ahsoka.
Aren't they making more movies now?
Yeah, they're making more movies. We got 2 new movies on their way. One is supposed to be like the Origin of the Force, which will be either really good or really really
the
bad.
Origin of the Force.
Yeah, it's called the Acolyte.
I thought it was called the Origin of the Force.
I wish it was called the Origin of the Force.
The Acolyte makes the Force?
Acolyte makes, I think, maybe they are the Force.
Oh, good for them.
Honestly,
Are they the force to be reckoned with?
no,
it's
they're
Force
an Acolyte.
Awakens.
They'd be called the Master if they were.
So so this is when one could say this is when the Force awakens.
You know what? I really wish this was when the Force awakened. I'll be honest with you. That'd be very convenient for me. That'd be a very convenient truth.
I just know they've been talking about new Star Wars stuff coming up a lot lately, and I was just curious as to what the plan was. I knew there was one.
The thing I'm really excited for personally is the Ahsoka TV show, because it has, I'm blanking on her name. Hold on. Rosario Dawson as a lead, and I love her in everything I've seen her in. And they're dealing. The one thing I don't like is they're bringing back Thrawn again because they can't let him die. I hate him.
So boring.
Isn't that what they call fish, shrimp in Australia?
Thrawns.
Thrawns.
Thrawns on the Barbie.
I wish Thrawn was on the Barbie. The trailer for Ahsoka.
So what's wrong with him?
He's just he's a Marty Stew of a villain. He sucks. He's if Sherlock was a villain, but like TV show Sherlock, not.
God, TV show Sherlock was so fucking boring.
Is it like guy who's really smart, but he's decided because he's so smart the world is bad?
Kinda, yeah. Well, and
I hate that
he's
guy.
Like he's all, but I'm really into art, and then people are like, why are you so into this art? And he's like, that's how you understand a society is by viewing their art, because that tells you what they really value.
That's so true.
And it sucks so bad. It's so bad.
That's why it would suck if they came here and it was like a while ago and they found like Limp Bizkit.
Yeah, 100%.
Oh, that would be the worst. He would be like, this says so much about their society. And he would be so true. Because chocolate starfish and the hot dog flavored water is the perfect encapsulation of what it means to be a human.
In the year 2006.
No.
Oh.
In general.
You know what?
All of it.
I'm willing to agree.
Thank you. What about Tub Thumpin' by Chumbawamba?
Tub Thumpin' is like...
That's honestly...
I was going to call it the white people's anthem, but I think it transcends race.
It does. It should.
What do you mean, how dare I? I'm sorry. Am I
we
insulting
on
your
that from people that
Mr.
aren't white?
Brightside sensibilities?
Yes, you are, actually. A little bit. I was going to say, when Mr. Brightside is out there, how dare you say anything else is the white people anthem?
What about Don't Stop Believin'?
Oh, fuck. No, or
Living
honestly,
on a Prayer?
I think a medley of Don't Stop Believin' and Living on a Prayer has the raw power to kill everyone over the age of 50 and under the age of 70.
That's the problem, is that I think that Mr. Brightside is the white people anthem for anyone under the age of 50, and the other two.
Pull it together, man.
Sorry, the other two are for anyone over the age of 50.
What were the other two?
I'm gone, man. Don't stop believing
No,
in living on a
what
prayer.
were
I got
they?
there.
Okay.
This man's forgetting about Tub Thumpin'.
I'll tub your thumping.
Don't say that.
I'll say it again.
I get knocked down, but I get up again. And I'm gonna keep
you can
me
keep
down.
me down.
I get knocked down.
Oh my god.
You can probably wrap.
When I put
wrap
my
up
throne
pretty
on the
soon.
Bobby, that's when I get knocked down.
Don't put your Thrawn anywhere near that. That movie's coming out on its own time.
Does it have to?
Barbie or Thrawn?
I hate him. I hate him so much.
Ken?
Oh,
It's kind of, honestly, Ken has never done anything in his life,
I think
literally.
What? Me
actually,
neither.
hold on. That movie does look good. Like,
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to see it. Honestly, the double feature of Oppenheimer and Barbie is great.
There was a take on TikTok where it was like, there's going to be so many fights that day. And you know what? Anyone who makes me go see Oppenheimer over going to hang out with Margot Robbie, and I will fight them. Correct.
I don't be like chasing the movies on their release day, so.
That's true. Same.
But if I was, I suppose I'd probably have seen Barbie.
Yeah.
But I think both of them are going to be a good watch.
Oh, without a doubt.
Both are 100% going to be
I
great.
mean, Chris Nolan was like, how do I replicate a nuclear bomb practically? I want this to be as practical as possible.
That's cool though,
That's poppable.
because like you
Shut the
could
fuck
do that.
up, Dan.
It's like the Nuclear Boy in Michigan. You guys hear about that one?
No.
It was like a kid. It was in the 90s, I think. It was a kid who just like found out you could get a radioactive isotope out of smoke detectors, and then he started making a nuclear bomb in his backyard. Not in like he wasn't trying to like, as far as I know, he wasn't like doing crime with it. He was just like making it because he thought he could, in theory. He was just doing a science. But yeah, nuclear boy. It's kind of fucked up.
Wonderful.
Oh my god.
He wouldn't hurt nobody. He just was kind of like he was a little dense. I mean, kid was like 14 playing with like radioactive isotopes, but he was like wicked smart. My boy's wicked smart.
I need to rewatch that movie.
They gotta make a nuclear boy movie. It's real. I'm not like it's not like a joke.
No,
like, he did this.
that's the
This
problem.
is like
I
a
know
cool
it's
story.
I know it's not a joke, and that's the worst
Yeah,
part.
it's a cool story. He just like he figured it out. I hope he's okay.
I've got bad news for you. He
Oh,
died
no.
like 8 years ago.
Oh no, 8 years ago. Oh, was it the CIA?
No. It's not funny. It was fentanyl.
Oh no. Nuclear boy? It's not funny.
Yeah, it was alcohol, fentanyl, and
Oh,
some
that's
other
so
stuff.
sad. Oh man. That's so sad. Nuclear boy died. And it,
I gotta be honest, it is really sad, but like I was just so unprepared.
I just remembered Nuclear Boy today.
I was so
I
unprepared.
just remember. Oh my god! I heard that story when I was younger, and I knew he was like not that old.
I was so
And
unprepared.
I
with
forgot.
fentanyl.
I forgot about Nuclear Boy until today, and I remembered Nuclear Boy, and now he's. It's like you just meet somebody and they die. I just remembered him. Oh, it's such a shame. Poor Nuclear Boy.